Anyway, I'm back. So, times I've had a poo in the school toilets. So, stay tuned. When I was in school, guys. So, way back when, I did it once. I don't remember the full story, but yeah, nice story, mate. So, I had it once, and that was good. But the second time I did it, well, I mean, at both times I did it, I was, you get like the feeling of fear because you're like, oh, there's going to be some random much older person that walks in and starts screaming, oh, he's taking a dump in the toilet. Anyway, the second time I did it, I didn't flush. So, probably thinking, oh, that's disgusting. I'm going to unsubscribe right now because this is actually the most vile story I've ever heard. But you have to understand that the toilets in the school didn't flush. In this one's cubicle, they didn't work, so I couldn't flush. I tried as much as I really would have wanted it to work. It didn't, so I had to just, go, oh shoot, it's not going to flush. I had to just close the toilet lid, walk out, hope for the best. Hopefully no one walked in immediately after and saw it. I'm pretty sure someone did walk in immediately after. But that's probably not the worst thing they've seen in one of those toilets, so it's probably fine. Another story, because those were really short, and that was toilet stories. I'll give you another toilet story. So I was in the school toilets. This is just before class. It was at break time, and I had maths class next. So I was, I'm going to the toilet. I didn't poo, but I did, take a leak. And the cubicles are all like, it's give or take, will they work or will they will not. This one, I was like, oh, okay, it works. I slid the lock in. It was a bit tight, but managed to do it so I could lock the door. Obviously, I didn't fully trust it. The lock was quite brittle, so still had to think, if someone kicks this door in, it's going to immediately shatter, probably. Anyway, so I, did my business, and then I tried opening the door, and the door wouldn't open. So I was just stuck in that toilet for 10 minutes, sitting around like, how do I get out? And I was stressing a lot. I was thinking about all the possible scenarios, like, what do I do? I could hear a teacher like screaming at the other guys in the toilet to like get out, and it's like break time is over, because break time was over. The bell rang, and I was like, oh shoot, I really have to go out now. But I couldn't, and the only possible things I could do, I could have alerted another one of the older years, but that would have been basically a death sentence. They probably would have even helped, right? So I didn't do that, and I could have alerted the teacher, but that would also have been a death sentence. So I didn't do that. I used all my body strength to try and pry the lock open. Even if it was now that I was stuck in the toilet, maybe I'll be able to get it open because I'm stronger. But it was it wouldn't budge, right? The flip is my base somewhere there. Yeah, I was thinking, how am I going to get out? So I came to the Mission Impossible. I went a little bit Tom Cruise, and I was like, I can't open the door. But I do know something about the layout of the toilet, and that is that there is a toilet cubicle which has no door and has no toilet in, but it's still a cubicle for some reason. And there is also a windowsill which is not blocked off by any of the toilets. So all of them are basically connected by this one windowsill, which is really small. It was like a really small gap on the windowsill. I want to say less than just like half a meter maybe in width. That's a guess. Anyway, you know what I gotta do? And I realised the good thing was that the cubicle I was in was a neighbour directly with a cubicle which had this cubicle's gonna go, the cubicle that had no door. So I knew, okay, the way to get out is probably to hop into that cubicle. How do I get into that cubicle though? Through the windowsill. So I, put my feet up on the toilet, took a few attempts because it was quite slippy, covered in pee. And I got inside, got into the windowsill, which was right next to the window, and the window was also open. Thankfully, it's opaque because who would have a, transparent window next to a toilet? It's kind of weird. So that was good. It was a very tight squeeze. I didn't think of taking my bag off and throwing it up before. You know, movies when they do that, they like take their bag off, throw it up, or like take it off and then they go first or something. It's like, why don't you just keep it on? You have enough space. Anyway, I kept my bag on and everything, so I just climbed up through there, and I was really hoping that there would be no one else in the toilet because the break had ended at least 15 minutes ago now. You know, I've been stressing for a long time. I was thinking, okay, really hope there's no one just sitting around in the toilet. I really hope no one's like waiting for the last kid to finally get out. Thankfully there wasn't, and I managed to get over the windowsill. That's down over. No. Over the windowsill into the next cubicle. And hopped down. There was no toilet, so I just had to jump down. It didn't really hurt my knees, I don't think. It's quite a long time ago, so I don't remember the specifics. Managed to just, walk back out. No one was in the toilets. I don't know if I washed my hands or not. Probably didn't. No, I did, probably. But, yeah, and then I tried the door. Didn't open the first time. But they have a thing on the inside of the toilet that allows you to open it from the inside. So I used that. And I got out. Thankfully. And that story was over. Not quite over yet though, because I was late to my class for like 20 minutes already now at this point. So I was thinking, oh god, how am I going to explain to the teacher? What am I going to say to the teacher? I definitely wasn't going to say, yeah, I just got locked in the toilet for 20 minutes. Anyway, I'm back, so it's fine. So I didn't say that. I walked into class, they were like, you alright? And I was like, yep. Sat down in my seat. Everybody, not everybody was looking at me, but, what the flip just happened? Not everybody was looking at me, but the thing is, as if you walk into class late and you get like the stares from at least the majority of the class, they will just turn their heads and look at you for a few seconds. Yeah, but when I sat down, my friends looked over at me and they were like, hey, I'm like, hey, like no one really said anything. Neither did the teacher, and I was like, this is kind of weird. What's happened? They didn't even think I was gone. Like, what's happening here then? But apparently, because at that same time I was taking like music lessons when I was in school. So apparently, one of my friends told the teacher when they were calling the register that I was in a music lesson. And the teacher was like, oh, okay. And then when I came back, he just assumed that I was done with the music lesson. So that's W friend for covering me like that. I did immediately tell them what actually happened, and they were like, what the flip are you talking about? Yeah. And I never told my maths teacher, obviously. So he doesn't know unless he's watching this video. Probably isn't watching this video. Thankfully, I'm not in the toilet still. Otherwise, you would probably know because... Okay, I'm not going to keep talking. This is silly. I need more iron. Oh my gosh. Does this do it for today's video? Sure. Good thumbnail, probably. Good title. I got locked in the school toilets. It's either I got locked in the school toilets or I took a massive dump in the school toilets and didn't flush. I don't know which one would get more clicks. Probably I took a dump in the school toilets and didn't flush. This is my story. If you laughed at all, then leave a like. If you giggled, leave a comment. But if you cackled, then hit the subscribe button. If you didn't do any of them, then if you cried actually, I don't know. Leave a comment as well that says I cried.